welcome to the online preview of the Anthroposophy Conference Malaysia tonight. And today we are so happy that we have our dear friend Linda Thomas all the way from Switzerland tonight to give us the essence, the highlight of the workshop. And Linda is one of the facilitators for our upcoming Anthroposophy Conference workshop in this June 26th. Yeah, happen in June 26th until June 30th. Yeah, when it comes to cleaning, then what is in your mind, or what is mean to you when it comes to cleaning? Yeah, as a renowned cleaning expert, Linda also operates her own ecological cleaning institute. And to her, right, cleaning is not just removing a dirt, but it's actually, it has a meaning when doing the cleaning, because when you put make it more alert, awareness, and cleaning, yes, as our daily chore, it can become a caring, which is more connected to our human being. Yeah, and also it is not only a daily activities, but it also brings a sense of responsibility, build the rhythm, connect, strengthen relationship, and there's many more, which brings the meaning to our development as well. So tonight, we would like to, I'm so happy that Linda is online with us, and now I'd like to pass the floor to Linda. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you very much, Samantha. And I'm really happy to be here. And for all those of you who don't know, I will be moving back to my home country, South Africa, in September. They're coming to fetch all our things. So at the moment, I'm really experiencing everything to do with clearing out, cleaning, and sorting out, making decisions every day. Because that's, of course, very much part of cleaning. If we do not have order in our home, we cannot even start cleaning. And many people have a lot of difficulties with this, ordering and getting rid of things. Well, I'm telling you, I've really experienced a lot of that over the last months, and so it's something that I will be able to share with you when I come to Malaysia from first-hand experience. And as Samantha says, you know, every activity that we do, of course, can help us in the path that we follow, that can help us to go more profoundly into whatever we do and give meaning to whatever we do. I happen to choose this aspect of cleaning because I wanted to start a cleaning company to enable my children to go to Waldorf school. And with all these years of experience, I just learned so much about cleaning. You learn a lot about life when you learn about cleaning, because dirt is something that falls away from life. It's something that we create because we live. Dead people don't cause dirt. We only do that while we are alive and while we are active. And because it is something that we do on a daily basis, whether we want to do it or not, it is so important that we look at our attitude when we do this cleaning. And as Samantha said, I did a lot of cleaning in my company. And now from the company, I am retired, but for many years, I cleaned schools and I cleaned kindergartens, and I cleaned for other people. I cleaned in the clinics, I cleaned in the hospitals. And you just realize with time that the state of a room, you know, when you enter a room, that room also speaks a language. And the state of that room can reveal a lot about yourself. It can reveal a lot about the people that are, of course, living and working and learning in those spaces. But most importantly for me is not that you look at a room in a judgmental way, that you come into a space and you think, oh, this and that, but basically that you come into a room, you observe that room, and you come to a point where there is like a form of communication that can take place between you and the space, so that you can actually ask the space, what do you need? What can I do to help you? Because the one thing we can never forget is that every single room in every house basically is there for human beings. And it's up to us to decide what is going to unfold itself within these rooms. You know, are our children going to thrive, or are they going to be frustrated? Are our families going to be happy, or are we going to be bickering because this isn't done and that isn't done? So all these things are actually part of our daily life and part of the way we look at things. So the wonderful thing about cleaning is, of course, that you do remove dirt when you clean. That's the most obvious part of cleaning. But when you are able to change your attitude towards the cleaning, it becomes caring. It really takes on this nurturing effect, and you can actually bring something very positive to a space. You can transform a space just by the way you touch it, and even sometimes just by the way you look at it. Because where your eyes go, your soul is going to go too. So sometimes we can't do a lot of things when we find a space because there's no time. For instance, on a Monday morning when you want to start your kindergarten and you realize it wasn't done exactly the way you would have liked it to be done. But then you can make an exercise of observation of the space. You can look at everything with loving detail, and just by that, you can help to transform what is in the space. So you don't always have to touch something physically to change it. But of course, the physical aspect does help, because through our hands, we've got a terrific force, and we've got a healing force, and we've got a form that can transform, that can heal, and that can bring harmony into a space. So we're going to, in this at the anthroposophical conference, I would like us, not just, of course, me to talk. It won't be me giving lectures all the time. I'd like us to work together. I would like also to hear your experiences, because that's always so comforting for all the participants to learn about the positive experiences that other people have made. Because often, you know, we think, oh, I can't manage that. Oh, but Linda, she's been doing this for 30 years. That's why she can do it. And I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. It's not true. Everybody can make a change. The moment that you make a decision that you want to change something for the better, then you can do it. You might not see the results immediately, but you can start doing it immediately. It needs a decision and a change of attitude. So, of course, we were going to learn about observation and self-observation, because these are the two fundamental principles for me. If you look at a room and you don't look at it in detail, then you will miss things. And of course, in my profession, when I go to places, these are often the first things I notice, are the things that other people don't notice, because what you don't see, you're not going to remove. That's just a very logical thing. If you look up in a corner, but you don't see the cobweb, you won't remove the cobweb. So it's important that we learn how to look at a space so that we can care for it in the appropriate way. Now, we also have to learn to observe ourselves, and the physical, the self-observation, self-perception has got also an outward side, a physical side, but it also has, of course, this internal part, the invisible side. And so, for instance, very often when I look at people cleaning, when I teach people to clean, I have this impression that they're actually fighting with the dirt. You know, you always have the feeling that people think that cleaning has to be done, and it has to be done as quickly as possible because you've got so many better things to do than cleaning. And that's already, of course, if you have that attitude, that is going to express itself in your gestures. You're going to be more aggressive in your movements. You're going to be less harmonious and gentle. And, if you're really sort of stressing, this is usually when you bump your furniture with a vacuum cleaner, or when all of a sudden you bump a vase and then the water is all over the place. So you lose a lot of time often when you stress. So that's the external part of self-observation. What are my gestures like? How do I use my hand? How do I fold my cloth? And I will show you a little bit about that. So these are all aspects that are important that we know. Now, the internal aspect of self-observation is, how do I feel? What is my attitude? If you feel I'm always the only person doing things, then your attitude is not going to be so positive. You'll feel sorry for yourself, perhaps, or you might even feel angry because you're the one doing everything. And I think all this is really important. So your attitude, how do I feel? And sometimes it's also important that, we all live and we have our baggage. And sometimes, we have a difficult day. Everybody can have a difficult day. And then it is important that you can sort of look at yourself and think, well, this part of me does not belong into this room that I want to care for. So before you enter a room, the moment that you are at the threshold, to just observe yourself and ask yourself, what do I want to bring with me into the room, and what would I like to leave outside, because I do not want to put a burden on anybody on the inside of the room. And sometimes, just because you do this exercise of observation, you look at yourself and you see, okay, this is my situation. You can go and wash your hands, you can wash your face. Sometimes just having water run over the lower part of your arms and over your hands can really make a difference. Even just, doing this exercise can harmonize you. So when you observe that there's something that isn't quite as you would like it to be, there are little ways that you can help yourself so that you can improve the situation of your work. And there's so many aspects that relate to cleaning. And it is, for instance, that we work with the elements. Whenever we work, any process of cleaning, because cleaning is usually, it is a process, it's always a process. So you always work with the earth, you work with water, you work with the air, and you also work with fire. And whenever processes take place, we are also in immediate contact with the elemental beings. So knowing this can, of course, also enhance our work, because we can then take our work to a totally different level. And all these aspects we would like to explore. I'm not going to go into detail as far as this is concerned now, but just so that you know the aspects that we would like to explore. And also, part of this, the self-observation, is that you ask yourself what actually inspires my gesture, or what is behind my movements, behind my gestures. Do I do things out of habit? Do I do them instinctively? Or do I do them out of necessity? Or do I do them out of inspiration? Do I do them out of intuition? So that it's a different level of the work that you bring, excuse me. So another aspect that I will, of course, bring in our workshop, and this is important to me, is the very practical aspect. Now, I have learned through the many years of cleaning that you can have tools, very good tools. Now, we are going to look at cleaning products. I know that you make, in Asia very often, you make this wonderful project of a cleaning project that you do by fermenting leftovers, excuse me, and or things from vegetables and fruit. the peels that you can use to ferment, so we can look at that. There are other aspects that one can also do, because of course, if you do something with fermentation that is acidic, and generally you don't use acidic products on all the surfaces, so it's important that we also learn what product do we use where. And then of course the main aspect of my practical cleaning is that I do a lot with just water, and I have a little bottle that I mark with a blue tape, and that is always the sign that that is water, because I use actually not very much water when I clean. And for many people, that is sometimes quite a strange idea. But once I have demonstrated it, you will be able to understand what I mean by that. And then also something that often people don't know is that, you have a cloth. Now, if you work with a microfiber cloth like this, just the fact of folding it and using it in the right way can enhance the quality of your work, and it actually can make your work so much more efficient. You can save a lot of time, that you usually have by dipping your cloth into the water, rinsing it out, wringing it out, and then starting again. So if you have a cloth like this, you can spray it with water, or you can spray the surface that you're going to clean with water, and then you use this cloth and you use it in a very rhythmic way with a flat surface. You never work with a little ball like that. Your cloth has to be flat. You use this side of your cloth. You clean as far as you want to go, and then you think, oh, now I'd like to have a fresh cloth. So instead of going and rinsing the cloth out or taking a new one, you just turn it around, and then you start the process. So you spray, and then you can clean. And this continues. So when you've used both of these surfaces, then you're going to turn your cloth around, and you've got two more surfaces. When you've done that, you're going to turn your cloth around completely, and then you've got more surfaces. And when you've used all those surfaces, you actually open your cloth, you turn it inside out, and again, you've got fresh surfaces. So just working in this way can save a lot of time, and especially a lot of energy, and needless to say, a lot of water and a lot of cleaning products. So these are, the practical aspects of cleaning, which I find incredibly valuable, because trying to do something in a spiritual way doesn't mean that you have to be less efficient about it. And I don't believe in rushing through work, but by using your products in an efficient way, you can actually spend much less time cleaning. And I think everybody that is quite valuable. I show you just another little tool that perhaps you know. It's made of metal, and you can pull it out. You can use it in many wonderful ways. Of course, all this I will demonstrate when I am in Malaysia with you. And there's a lot of secrets I can reveal to you about this, but I will show it to you. It's always much nicer if you can see something, because then you can believe me really that it works so well. Another tool that I really love is this little blade. And this blade is something that is so wonderful to use on any hard, smooth surface. Like if you've been decorating in the kindergarten for a festival, sometimes on the glass there remains some Scotch tape, or sometimes blue tack, or whatever, that you can remove with a blade very smoothly, and you never damage the surface. You can use it in the bathroom if you've got a lot of calcium on your tiles, or if you've got glass doors in the shower. Sometimes there's a calcium build up, and you can use that to remove the calcium. And also you can use it in the oven. Now when we bake in the oven, sometimes while you're baking or roasting something, there's fat that goes onto the glass of the door of your oven, and with time it becomes brown. And that is also something that you can remove beautifully with this blade. Also in the bottom of your oven, if something runs over and it burns there, you can remove that with this blade. So just to give you a little idea of the practical things, I will show you how I make furniture polish or just some furniture oil that you can use. So there's many things that we can do just in a purely practical way. Another aspect that I would just like to mention is that to me, it's really important that we look at our houses, our homes, our schools, our kindergartens as a living organism. And just as we as human beings have got a physical body, we've got an etheric body, we have an astral body, and we also have our spirit. So does our house have these parts. And we will go into the detail of how do you recognize these parts, what actually makes you understand these different aspects of your home and how you can look after them. Now, of course, the physical part, everybody knows what the physical part is, and that's where you use all the tools that I've just shown you. Now, when we start working, and especially if we work really rhythmically and with awareness, then of course we already, because we are in process, we enter the etheric realm, and this is where we meet the elemental beings. This is where we meet the 7 life processes. And this is also something that is so interesting, is that the life processes that we can recognize within the being of the human, we can also recognize in society, and we can recognize those within the etheric of our homes. And here again, how can we help our house to develop in a healthy way in this? So I hope that this will give you an idea of what we are going to work on while we are working. Of course, as I mentioned, the aspect of taking care of order, also doing some work on creating order. And I don't know if there's any particular questions that you have that you would like to ask me, or if there's anything else that you'd like to know about the workshop. Then if that's okay, Samantha, perhaps shall we take questions or not, or would you prefer not to?
Sure. Okay. Yep. All right, dear friends, then if you have any questions or would like to find out more about the cleaning, yeah, you may type in the chat, or you can unmute, raise your hand and unmute, then you can ask your questions.
Just 1 or 2, because we don't have so much time.
Yeah. I asked the first one, Linda.
Yes.
Because just now earlier on you mentioned that you're moving back to your home country. So you have a lot of stuff to pack, right? And in my situation now, because I'm planning to do my house renovation, my touch up like painting the things. So I also
Yes.
start packing. But this 2 days is really make me like I a bit panic because I have no idea how to where to start, because when I look at it, it seems like not many things. But when you start packing, you take out a lot of stuff, and it seems like, oh, there's a lot of stuff. But it's still good time, to clear the stuff. So my question is, because I can't clear, I only can pack and put in a space, maybe in a living hall, because we can't move everything out, or I didn't rent a storage place to store, because it just take a month. So I just would like to find out like how how we could start it more effectively. Currently, I started from the rooms first, and it seems like even though I realized that the kitchen is that I have a lot of stuff compared to the rooms. So am I how we could start it? Because I feel like these 2 days I have no idea, like a headless chicken.
Well, I think the most important thing is, Samantha, that you decide where you start, which is the first space I'm going to start. And it's about painting, you said.
Mm.
Yes. So I would, of course, try to, without having to move too many individual things, if it's not too heavy, to try to move everything that is in the room as close to the center as possible, so that you have space to move around in the room.
Yeah.
And if it's possible, if it's possible, not to move everything out of the room, try to pile it up in the room as good as you can so that you have the space around the walls clear. That is already going to save you a lot of effort and a lot of time, because the minute that you think, oh, I have to take everything out and put it in another room, there's going to be more chaos, because then you feel the chaos in every room. So if this is at all possible, it's always difficult to give you some advice if I don't see the space.
Yeah.
But this is definitely how I would go about it. I would try to just free up the walls without moving house completely. You can put, for instance, a sofa in the middle of the room. You can put a cloth over it. You can put all your chairs on top of the sofa. And then afterwards, it's going to be much easier to restore the order than if you have to go and get it from the kitchen and from the bathroom and from the living room. And during all the time that you've got the things in all these other rooms, everything seems a mess. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's definitely the way I would work.
Yes, it makes sense. Just now it's like make me feel more confident on doing the right thing, the right direction. So I just started room by room, as you mentioned. So I packed one room, everything put in the center, and then second room put the center, and leave it the most stuff in the kitchen. Then I have that in the same place rather than that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a good thing to also look when you move the things. Do I really need them?
Yes.
Because that's also a help,
That exactly.
You don't have so many things to move back.
Yeah, you're right. And then I clear a lot of stuff. Okay, and then another question is from the floor, and this is the question is asked in Mandarin, but I will translate to say, it asks like how to read and communicate with the space, and and in return, what happens? Do the space give a response, and how do we know that there's a communication between ourselves and the space?
That's just a matter of practice. That's a matter of practice. And you actually do that. As I said, you start at, you enter, before you enter the room, you do a little bit of self-observation. How do I feel? Then you enter the room and you try to put yourself in a position where you can see the whole room. Okay. And then, look at the room and sincerely ask the room, how can I help? How can I help you? And then I do the observation that I start from one side, for instance, by the door, and I move around the whole, I start towards the right, and I move along the periphery of the room, at the same time observing at the top, the ceiling and so on. So you observe every item and you move your eyes from the top down, and you really look at everything. And then, I usually ask by the room also, you ask yourself, is there anything in this room that disturbs me? And what is it that disturbs me? Often you know that this I don't like or that I don't like, but sometimes you don't feel well in the room, but you don't really know what it is. So you do this observation, and then sometimes while you do this observation, all of a sudden you see, oh, but it's that vase or that lamp. I don't like it. I don't know why. I've had it all this time. I'm going to remove it. That's easy. But sometimes you go around the room and you feel that something isn't right, but you don't know what it is. And what I then advise is that you close your eyes and you do exactly the same observation with your eyes closed. And then very often, and this I know it happened with me often, and many other people have confirmed this to me, is that it's almost like you go around the room, and then that object that disturbs you, or that part that disturbs you, it comes forward like an after image. If everybody, I don't know if you all know what an after image is, but we practice when you do observations. Sometimes you look for a long time at a red spot close your eyes and then look at a white spot, and then the after image is green. It's a green spot. And so this you can also experience when you observe a room very thoroughly, that once you close your eyes, all of a sudden that disturbed you sort of comes forward, it comes towards you. And then you know that is what is disturbing me. That is something that I have to change or remove or clean or something. I think that's perhaps enough, Samantha.
Yeah, sure.
Just as I just wanted to just to give the opportunity, because one thing perhaps just as a closing thought about the cleaning is that, to be able to educate our children, we have to educate ourselves. And I think that cleaning is such a wonderful aspect of self-education and also of education, because our children observe our gestures, they observe our attitude. Don't think that they don't observe our attitude. So afterwards, and include your children whenever you can, and start including them as small as possible, because they can hardly walk and they want to help. They want to do what mommy does. If you encourage them now, even if you think, but this is really taking a lot of my time away, it's something that you take away from your child if you do not allow them to help you when they want to help you. So that's something to me that is a very important aspect. And of course, also the whole rhythmic aspect of cleaning, not just the rhythm of the gesture, but the rhythm of the tasks. Because if you say, I'll do that when I have time, you always have a load on your back. If you give your tasks a rhythm and on Tuesday, I'm going to do this, then the rest of the week, you don't even have to think about it. And that's so wonderful. You create freedom within yourself by giving your work a rhythm. And these rhythms we can look at, they are different for young mothers with young children. They are different with mothers with teenage children, and they are even more different when you're retired and you and your husband are both at home. So, but this is just these aspects that we will talk about when we are working together. So I hope that this gave you an idea of what we will be able to work on together during this workshop.
Nice. Thank you, Linda. I understand maybe a lot of the audience that like to ask the questions, yeah, but we have a limited of time, and we do hope that y'all can join us this coming June 26th until 30th, the Anthroposophic Conference. And may I like to take this opportunity to introduce the conference, so that you can understand what's going on. And we hope that this the introduction can give you some ideas about the conference. Yeah. So the conference, the Anthroposophic Conference Malaysia, will take place from this coming June 26th and until the 30th. And it is a 5 days event, which will feature 24 tutors, and both from overseas and locally. And all these tutors will facilitate the workshop and art and practice sessions on the various topics. So we'd like to introduce, this is not a new conference, and in fact, it has been 9 years since the last Colisco conference in 2015. We have this conference due to the first training that brought to us by our dear teacher, Dr. Michaela Crocker, in 2013. And that was the first IPMT training start in Malaysia. And Dr. Michaela is the keynote speaker for the session since then. Yeah, and Dr. Michaela is a pediatrician, and was the head of the medical section of Pontianak for 28 years. And she's the one who kickstarted, the anthroposophics learnings and lead us for the past 10 years in Malaysia. So this is how we have been get through the the learning since 2013 until 2019. And this event has brought to us together the anthroposophic tutors around the world, and with the participants from Malaysia and some of them from the Asia Pacific region, and supported by a local and overseas volunteers then. And we have the goal that to integrate anthroposophy in our professions and everyday life. So this year's the conference happened in Malaysia, physical. It is an in-person meeting, and from June 26th to 30th. Yeah. So we can see the organizer is Kongsi Co-op, is where it's a consumer co-op together with 17 co-organizers is from the different various field. Yeah. So we would like to create this event as in more a community-based event where everyone could enjoy and connect, bring people and the community together, get inspired, and also apply the essence and the wisdom in their daily life. So the workshop we have covers various topic ranges from anthroposophy medicine, the nursing, the nutrition, educations. Of course, we have cleaning and learning, eurythmy, biography and art, as well as a biodynamic in beekeeping. And all our teachers has their own professionals, and their participants actually is a nice gesture, to give back to the community. And we hope that we all have more people to take this opportunity to join and to connect and to able to assess the wisdom of anthroposophy. So other than the workshop, okay, you can choose one of the workshop, and another one you can choose from the art and practices classes. And other than the workshop, we have 13 art and practices classes, which participants and they could able to experience different kind of arts and the practices. Well, we cover the aspect of painting, singing, music, and home care, gardening, and clay art, and other exercises the more. So we hope that everyone could join us these 5 days. And we started from the day one with an opening, a performance and a speech by Dr. Michaela Klockos. And for the day 2 until the day 4, we have workshops and the art and practices, and also in the morning and night time that we have a keynote sharing by the worker tutors and as well as the keynote speakers, Dr. Michaela. And the end of the Sunday, the last day, we end with the markets. Yeah, we have a closing and we end this with the markets. The markets is a community markets where we would like to invite everyone to join to have fun on the market. So what's the highlight for the conference? And first, of course, earlier on, we know that there's a facilitated by 24 overseas tutors and local tutors. And as well, we have keynote session and 23 workshop and other practices of classes. Then that covers a lot of various topics that you can choose. And also most important, in all the session, we provide Mandarin or English translation. And also the most important that then we have this meal, and we are using organic and BD ingredients for our meal. And all this, we hope that through the conference, the activities that could support local farmers, organic farmers and biodynamic farmers, and also the food producer. This is more like a community event. And last, we ended this as a Gongsi community market. The market is meant for connect people and the community, people can get together, can enjoy and exchange ideas, get together, make friends. And this is the highlight of the conference. And we hope that everyone could join us. So what's the key hours that I really would like to, that we would like you to bring back? And this is also my key harvest for the past 10 years that I start to get to know for the anthroposophy learning. And every year, every time that when we have trainings or conferences, then I think the most important, I can make a lot of new friends. And I believe so do you, and also we can connect others community. And this is for our own self-development learning. And of course, all the learning, all this exchange ideas, and all these practices that can be inspire yourself, and it could be lead you to take some action, to make some changes, to be a better own development. And last but not least, and I believe that all this learning, it could be knowledge yourself, and especially to nurture our inner self. This is very important. I remember one of our tutors, Walter, sharing. He said all the learning is not only on the surface, but when we learn with the awareness and conscious, it could be bring us, in depth, and bring to our inner development, to strengthen our inner self. So this is how that we'd like to present you our coming Anthroposophy Conference, Malaysia. Yeah, and I hope that you all can join. Sorry, I think you have to mute someone. Okay. Yeah, and then for the fees, then the fees is include the conference tickets, lunch, dinners, refreshments, and some of the materials. So there's an offer for 2, yeah. And why 2? Because 2 is a small communities that, you can bring along your friends and someone close to you along this learning journey. It is a lifelong journey, trust me. And you need a friend or someone to companion you as an encouragement, as something like to support, and you can share whatever the learning or the harvest you have. Yeah. So this is how that we hope that the small fees could cover some of the expenses, and actually we are very glad that all the teachers come here is with a gesture of services, and then the fees that the minimum could cover some of the expenses that have incurred in the conference ticket. So do come in at 2 and bring friends together to join this the learning journey. Yeah. So for those who would like to registration and like to register now, you can snapshot this screen, or the QR code for further information. All right. Of course. Last but not least, then before the conference, and we have our dear friends, our tutors, Linda. She will be arrived earlier before the conference, and we have a 2 days workshop conducted in the school. Yeah. So the topic is about how to shape, the healthy space for our children to bloom. Yeah. During the sharing earlier mentioned that the school is also a living organism. How all this cleaning, we do in a school, and it could not only benefit for the children in the school, but also all this can bring back to home and the community. So you want to get to know more, please join us these 2 workshops and the conference. And all this the learning we do provide the Mandarin translation by our dear friend Ai Hua. Okay, yeah, so we will share all the information to each group, and we hope that you can invite your friends along together. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Linda, for the time. And I apologize for the hiccup earlier on, and we try to fix it. And we can't wait to see you soon. I know. Yeah.
And looking forward very much.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. And we see you in Malaysia.
Very soon. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Bye-bye.